Hello YouTube, welcome back. I'm particularly excited about this because this episode of the Macadamia Show has been, I think, 2 years in the making, but I'll be corrected if I'm wrong by my guests. I have two of them, husband and wife, Mel Casaniga.
Hi.
Welcome to the Macadamia Show, and her husband Ron, who's come along for the ride as well. And they've welcomed me to their property here in the floodplains, or rather the sugarcane flats of, is it Broadwater here technically?
Technically Dungarooba.
Dungarooba, okay. And then, I mean, we've just driven here today and gone through sugarcane fields and some other green crop that I know nothing about. And this is the first macadamia farm you come to after you, well, coming from the M1. Are there others in the area?
Yeah, there's other macadamia farms further to the west and southwest from here.
Right. At the same level above sea level?
All pretty similar down here. It only varies a few metres. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And I mean, I'd just like to ask how you got into this. You were originally both cattle farmers, weren't you?
I ended up cattle farming with Ron. I'm from the kitchen originally.
Okay.
Yeah, and when I ended up meeting Ron, he convinced me to go out near Moree and live out there on a lovely cattle property out that way.
Right. Okay. And you kept that up for some years, did you, or you switched to macadamias pretty quickly?
Oh, we were probably out there 8 years, I suppose, on the farm. Yeah,
Right.
I was probably there 8 years.
But you'd been there?
Yeah, I mean, I was there since my parents bought the farm there in 1979, so a long time ago.
Ah, right. Okay. Now, why the switch to macadamias?
We went looking at a B&B. Ron decided that he had time for another tree change in life, and we'll see change. Anyhow, we thought B&B might be it. We were looking at a B&B, and within 10 minutes we knew it wasn't for us. So we went for lunch at Glasshouse Pub.
In the Glasshouse Mountains?
Yes.
Ah, yes.
And there's a real estate agent across the road.
Yep.
And Ron saw macadamias for the first time, and that was it. From that moment on, he was going to be a macadamia farmer.
There's a bit of a magic to it, isn't it? Yeah.
We did find online a nudist B&B that looked quite attractive. No, she wouldn't even look.
Yeah, running that it would have its unique challenges, wouldn't it?
It was not cleaning.
No pockets. Yeah. Anyway, that's great. And so, but you started macadamia farming in Tregeagle, which, look, as far as I'm concerned, is royalty. You know, it's bang in the middle of what everyone thinks of as macadamia country. And then you come here and start a second one here in the flats. Now, what was behind that?
Well, we ended up at Tregeagle by default. We actually didn't know how wonderful Tregeagle is. We wanted to go to Bundy, and we were broken-hearted when farms kept falling over on us at Bundy. And Ron ended up, we just had a bit of a hissy fit one day, and he drew a little map, which was Linwood, Dalwood, Grouse Mill, and said somewhere in there we'll find a farm, and we went door knocking. And we stumbled across a little block at Tregeagle because we were looking for greenfield by this stage.
Yes.
And there was a little farm just started.
So planted with macadamias?
It just had 2,000, but it had A38s and 849s, and we were keen to work with those.
Okay.
So we grabbed it and we thought we could, finish it, put our stamp on that property.
Yeah.
And that's how we ended up in Tregeagle. But yeah, from that...
But that wasn't big enough for you?
Well, we just thought we'll start there and we'll work out what comes next.
Yeah.
And we, somebody told us about a guy down this way that had a tree planter that could help us plant at Tregeagle as new growers.
Right.
And that was Johan Jacobs. And anyhow, so we came down here to see Johan, and Johan looked at us, looked at Ron and said, you guys are going to get bored up there, come and have a look at this block.
Right.
And that's how
the one we're on now?
The one we're on now.
Fantastic. And was it sugarcane when you found it?
No, it was horse property.
Oh, horses here?
Yeah, 40.
Wow.
And there's none left, unfortunately.
No horse properties left?
No horses left.
Oh, no horses. Right. They could be useful at some times of the year, couldn't they?
Mel's from the horse world. So
Oh, right.
Disappointing getting rid of the horses.
Oh, okay. Well, if you miss them, that's okay. Well, yeah. But now macadamia trees. So you started planting this block roughly when? Because I can't get an idea from the trees here. 2020.
Yeah, well, the oldest ones here now would be a little bit over 4 years old.
Yeah.
When you first come in the gate, those
Yep.
344s
Yep.
would be a little bit over 4 years of age.
They were fairly big from memory, although I was just looking around like a mad thing when I was driving in, so
Yeah, first tree went in New Year's Eve 2019.
Right. Well, look, let's walk and talk, and you can show us what you've got, because this is very different to anything I've seen before. I mean, we've got trees on mounds, obviously. You planted them on mounds. Did you need to reshape the land when planting?
Yeah, well, the whole block was worked up and prepared, and then it was laser level.
Oh.
So where we're standing here now is a bit of a high point.
Yep.
And all the water runs down there. There's a drain
Yes.
down there, and so it's all laser leveled, so there's no puddles or dams anywhere. All the water runs off.
Right.
And then mounded to 40 centimetre high mounds.
So done properly, all this is done laser level. The drainage is put in first, and then you plant?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So there's clearly, and this is hard to see on YouTube, but there's a dip in the row here between the two rows of trees. Does this ever get wet?
Look, yeah, for sure. We're really wet season down near the drain. It'll come into your mounds a little bit.
Right.
And depends on how much rain you've had, how quickly.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
But we had quite a few falls of rain where the trees down in those lower spots, when I say lower, you know, it's only, you know, might be 2 metres difference on the whole block.
Yeah.
Or if that. Those low areas do get wet, but you know, the trees have had their feet wet quite a few times. The water submerges and then they're fine.
Yeah. Look, I was just down Newrybar Swamp Road a few days ago doing another video and saw fish swimming in the interrow. It wasn't as good a drainage job as this for whatever reason, but yeah, I thought I'd never see fish in the interrow, but this is much drier, despite the fact we've had a fair bit of rain.
This is very sandy underneath here as well.
Okay.
Beautiful chocolate loam on top.
Right.
But you don't have to go down far and it turns into pure white sand, so the drainage is really good here.
Right. So when they do soil tests here, do they say that you're sandy loam, or it's sandy loam?
Sandy loam.
Right. Oh, sorry, beg your pardon, Mel. Now, we're going past, I think I know what these trees are. I think these are MCT1s. Am I right?
They are.
Yeah, you can see the distinctive leaves, and they've got crop. Look at this. They've got.
These are the ones that survived the flood.
So okay.
And they're probably about 3.5 years old.
Yeah. So in 2022, I imagine this place was awash, like literally 2 years ago this year. And was everything underwater?
It was.
Right. And including the mounds?
Including the trees.
The entire trees? Oh, holy moly.
We're probably here right in this spot, probably 2 metres of water.
Oh my goodness. I mean, standing here now, I can't even picture that.
You wouldn't even know it with these trees now.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if it caused stunting in growth, then how high were they? Were they, what, a metre less than they are now,
Yeah,
maybe?
Probably, yeah, probably about that, yeah.
Because you think you could see some curl in the branches or something like that where growth was stopped, but it doesn't look like they were even held back.
There's no signs now. No, you wouldn't know.
Yeah. Wow, so this is a 4-year, you think it's a 3 or 4 year old tree?
It was planted, this tree would have been planted September before the flood.
September 21.
Oh, sorry, no, that would have been,
These are probably I reckon
they were 18 months when the flood went through.
They're
Sorry.
3.5 years old now.
Right, so there'd have been substantially smaller trees.
Yeah.
We'll probably keep moving, but look, tree after tree after tree here has a bit of a crop. Are you planning to harvest it this year, or what do you think?
Come down, look, when you look inside there, there's,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh my
there's
goodness.
quite a bit of nut on some of these.
Oh, I want what you've got.
And, you know, this,
I've got some nuts on my MCT ones, and they're younger than yours, but it has a real precocious nature, the MCT one.
Yeah.
Is it one of your favourite varieties?
As far as maintenance goes, no, because
Really?
we like to keep under a bit of control. So personally, these ones are getting a bit of a go, and we come and we prune quite a bit.
Right. I don't see a leader on any of these trees. Or was there once a leader and then it's you've allowed it to bush out, or?
I put these in the same category as the A38s. They
But A38s shoot
they
upwards.
tend to do what they want to do. So
Let them.
if there's a main leader there, we try and promote it. But a lot of them don't, and we just try and shape them
Right.
to keep them quite bushy.
Well, experience seems to say this is a spreading tree, ultimately, and that it's not going to grow into a monster anyway.
Especially down here,
Yeah.
on the flats, the trees, from what we've learnt from other growers down here and our agronomists, the trees at Tregeagle with those soils, they just want to grow foliage and grow big.
Right.
Whereas down here, they won't be a big tree, but what they want to do is they're going to want to yield. So the yields down here will be quite a bit more than
Potentially more.
up on the plateau.
Have you got MCT ones at Tregeagle?
We have.
And they're behaving differently?
No,
Or not? Would you cut too early to tell?
They're a bit younger. But
Yeah.
up till this stage, they're quite similar in growth.
Right.
And Ron was saying, they're not his favourite because he really loves, 3/4/4s.
Oh, does he?
8/4/9s that just sit there really nice
behave
and easy
themselves.
with the program and don't have the pruning.
Well, we'll have to look at those too. We'll have to.
When they
yeah.
start yielding like crazy, they might become our favourites.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. Well, the kernel recovery will be higher on these than pretty much anything else. Although the 849s are good. Yeah.
We cracked some on the weekend just to have a look because we've never looked inside an MCT one.
And what do you think?
Nut, it's phenomenal.
Oh, great.
Really exciting. The shell is so thin because it's just all nut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's thin husk too, isn't it? Fairly thin husk as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that loads a risk factor too, but it's here we go.
Some of these are dropping off already.
Well, they're not meant to drop till, aren't they a late dropper?
That could have been a nut bore or two dropping it as well.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't got into the shell, but
They've tried to,
Yeah.
perhaps. Yeah. No, it's all right. We don't need to crack one. Don't need to crack one here, but they're pretty big nuts for a small tree.
this is
Would be
first-
my comment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is first year. I mean, last year they were still really full on in the middle of flood recovery.
Okay, and they
Not
didn't
much
crop
yet.
at all last year. Right, so this is their first
Yeah.
real go at it. Now, I see along the row here some places there are younger trees. Are these replants?
Yeah.
Right.
Those smaller ones in between, they didn't make it through the flood, so
Okay.
they are ones we had to replant.
It gives you a bit of the idea of the nut that's starting to come on, Daniel.
Oh my goodness.
So we're super, super excited.
Man, are you growing nuts or grapes? Yeah, really, that's fantastic.
We're super excited what these MCT ones are going to do.
Yeah.
And they're starting to come up through the tree as well. And this is year one of cropping.
Now, you've herbicided under them or not? Or you must have herbicided at some point, but
Yep.
I'm feeling a lot of soft. Well, I mean, the soil's soft generally wherever I've been walking. Is there organic matter that you add, or haven't you had to do that yet?
Yeah, we've put compost.
Yeah.
Applications of compost, and I always side throw with a slasher, so we try and maintain ground cover.
Right. Yeah, I don't have a side throw slasher. That would be useful sometimes because there's a fair bit of grass under there.
Yeah, and that would have all been side throwed with the slasher.
Yeah. And what have you been feeding them mostly? I mean, are you a chemical food person? Are you organic? What are you or?
We're not organic, but we just do a bit of a mix. We like the compost.
Yeah.
Wood chip and the manures.
So wood chip can work here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we do, there's a few granulars we use. We sort of mix it up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a mixed diet's a pretty good diet too for mine. I'm just not of a firm view either way. I'm moving towards manure mainly because it's the cheapest at the moment.
Yes.
And you thought, after the Russian sanctions went on and the price of urea went up through the roof, you were all looking for other options while the macadamia price kept spiralling downwards. So, yeah, but that's just amazing.
We're trying to really focus on improving soil health.
Yes.
Every year with our soil tests, putting in regen practices,
It seems
encouraging growth in the interrow.
It seems to work all right. So is the drainage channel down the end here?
Yeah, about 100
Or
metres ahead of us.
right, and your rows go on after the drainage channel down there.
Yeah, there's about 120 trees in the row beyond the drain.
Wow.
From the other end, that's the high point, so it's all lasered, so the water goes from the other end back this way to the drain.
Right. So it's efficient to have these huge long rows. I mean, this is something I can only dream of because I've got a fairly hilly farm. But you generally, do you have some wide mower that you take along these rows, or do you use zero turns, or what's the?
No, we've got down here we've got a 3.5 metre Cason slasher.
Right,
And,
3.5 metre.
And it leaves a bit of
It's
a
double mine. Yeah.
a mohawk in the centre, which I don't mind.
Yeah.
But every now and then we'll just give it a full mow to tidy up. But I
Right.
don't mind this when
And the
we,
mohawk's because there's a dip, isn't it? I mean,
well, the slasher only goes not quite to the centre, so because these are 9 metre spacings,
right. So you've chosen 9x4,
3.5.
9x3.5.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one of the DPI's new recommended spacings that they've said anything from 9x3.5. No, anything from 8x4 to 9x5, but when you're doing 9 metre rows, they're sort of suggesting you can go in closer. Yeah.
That was the advice we were given at planting time.
Right. That's
Sorry
all right.
about that.
No, that's all right. So, okay, so some of these died in the flood. In general, when the flood hit, was it the smaller trees that had the highest failure rate, or wasn't it predictable?
Oh, look.
Or was it went by variety?
No, it was just big.
Yeah.
You know, the trees were submerged for 6 days.
Right.
Yeah, it was probably as much like younger ones.
Yeah.
And it's surprising, there's not much difference in height, but when you go up here another, 20 trees or so,
Yep.
nothing survived. Whereas up here, a little bit higher, the same age trees, but it's just that little bit higher made a difference.
So maybe because these cleared first and got oxygen again, or who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a theory on it. 5 weeks later, we got the 3rd biggest flood in history again down here, and it hung around.
Oh,
The
and you
whole
think,
ecosystem was just so full.
did that cause more deaths than the first one?
Yeah, because we had, we had new shoots like that. As saying they were underwater for, nearly the week.
Yeah.
But a week after that, we were on here mowing, fertilising.
My goodness.
Because the drainage, once it started the drainage was incredible.
Yeah.
And so the trees were pushing again. That was our advice: get them fired up again as quick as you can.
Yeah.
And we had access here. We were really lucky because of the good undersoil drainage. But when that second flood came, and
Yeah.
the water just hung.
Look, I have done trips up and down the M1, usually with a friend, so I can look out the window and be a tourist. And I've seen other farms built on sugarcane flats. Their recovery rates are very patchy. I mean, some of them seem to have recovered okay, but others have huge. I mean, they've not recovered as quick as this. So, one of your first steps post flood was to fertilise.
Yeah.
Because why? You think the soil had been leached?
The advice we got, the only nutrient that probably would have ran away would be nitrogen.
Yes.
So we went in with cal nitrate straight up.
Cal nitrate. Oh, yes.
Yeah, we went in with kelp and cal nitrate.
Right. So the calcium would also help rebuild the plant.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes. I can see some sense in that.
And it was just to get flush happening really quick, just fire the plant back up. But then when they shut down again 5 weeks later,
Yeah.
and it stayed wet, then we had all that. It stayed wet for months after that. I think it was
Of course, the weather was getting cooler and it didn't dry out as fast, and
it was just too much.
yeah.
But we use a
Alright.
lot of kelp, a lot of sea salt. If we have to water, we always put
Yeah.
something in.
Yeah. Yes, why just use water? Yeah, it's a wasted opportunity, isn't it?
Sure.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, are there other varieties you'd like me to see? Because we've seen these MCT ones, and you've thoroughly wowed me with them.
Okay.
But Ron, you like the 344s.
Yeah, they're just easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much maintenance with them.
Well, I have to be honest and say I hate my 344s, but that's because they're overgrown. They've gone too far too long, and once they get starved of sunlight, they really punish you. And they only get a little bit of crop up the top, and they don't do anything else. And maybe it's a red soil thing too, because everyone tells me 344s and to some extent 246s do okay on the flats.
Yeah, I mean 344s, the Dories, that's one of their main trees.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they're proven down on the flats.
Yeah. So, and yeah, still being planted today. And so, when I first heard that and before I looked into it a bit more, I thought, who the hell would plant 344s now? I hate the bloody things.
Well-
but so I want to see for myself, and I also want to show the subscribers a successful 344 because I've never been able to show them that myself.
Well, if you want to go for a drive, then we can take you along and show you the different varieties.
Sure. Yeah, we can.
Because they're sort of right at the other end.
Right, okay.
Ones.
Yep, if I can stick a camera out the window, we're in business.
Jump in, buggy.
All right. Okay, so here we are in the all-terrain vehicle that I wish I had. And Mel's driving us across the farm. What varieties are we going past now, Mel?
We are coming into the 838s here. Just these are the last of the 849s.
They're 849s.
They're 849s here.
They are vaguely familiar there. And these young ones here?
They're the 838s.
838s, okay. So they're looking very upright. They stand up for themselves. That looks very like my own 838s. Are they as old as the MCT ones?
Yeah, similar age.
Right.
Yeah.
And are they cropping? I can see a few nuts.
They are cropping. You can come along and have a look through here.
Right. Oh, yes. Wow. Well, that's not that different to the MCT ones. That's more of them replaced, it looks like.
Sorry, more to replace.
Well, oh, wow. Yeah. That branch is being bent down by nuts. That's... Oh, this is actually more consistent than I thought. I thought I was only seeing nuts in every few trees, but if you stop and look, every mature tree is bearing.
Yes, yeah, it's really exciting. And the MCTs are the same. I think the MCTs were about 6 months younger than what these are.
Right.
The older ones are these. And the next 6 rows across were younger 838s.
Yes.
And we lost most of those. We actually, any that were left, we pulled out, and we just did a complete replant of those 6 rows.
Mel, do you think in future you'll be harvesting the A38s and the MCT ones at roughly the same time?
I don't have the experience to tell you that, because we
Okay.
haven't harvested MCT ones yet.
So you're not quite sure of the dropping pattern.
No.
This is the year you're going to find out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I'm sure there's data out there, and there's plenty of wise people we could ring. We just haven't got around to ringing it.
Oh, look, I can say from my neighbour who has A38s, they're one of the later droppers. So long as MCT1 also drops late, you're going to be all right, I think.
Yeah, so we'll come up here and have a little walk along if you like.
Sure, yeah. Okay. Do you find that the pest control or the fungus control is different for any of these, Ron? I mean, these nuts seem smaller, if anything.
Yeah.
But I don't see any husk spot, which A38 is supposed to be susceptible to.
When we do an insecticide spray, it's normally over the whole farm,
Yeah.
not on specific varieties.
So it's still one size fits all.
Seems to be, or that's how it seems to be with us. Yeah.
Oh, it is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And the Pest Scouts certainly, we talk about each tree, but it's just been more, it's just the way it's worked out that we haven't needed to treat one variety and not another.
right. Oh, that's great. The growth is pretty upright, so you'd do less pruning of these, wouldn't you, Ron?
No, probably more so with the A38s.
Right.
I'm a bit frustrated because these they're getting a little bit out of control. I'd like to be pruning them a bit now.
Do you think they're going to end up too tall?
It's not so much the tallness, it's more like this branch here, for example.
Yep.
He's probably a good metre up to the first lateral.
Yes. Yeah.
If I was to prune, I'd take him off there.
Yep.
He'll have 4 new shoots come on one on each leaf there.
Right.
So then that's more fruiting wood down the track.
Okay, so by reputation, A38 sends up long willowy branches and it doesn't have side branches, and you're trying to force it to have side branches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's being true to form.
Pretty well.
Really. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's interesting. And so over to the left here, there's the 849s. Is that?
Oh, they're the bigger ones over there.
They're the bigger ones, right?
Yeah, these ones here. Again, I'd come in and prune these to a central leader.
Right.
Which that's the next job on the list. So at the moment they're a little bit out of control.
Are the 849s cropping yet?
Yeah, they are.
They are.
Yeah.
So after the same years, because they're not known as being early croppers at all. They're meant to be one of the latest, in fact. So so the fact you're getting a crop now is not, well, I mean, that's better than what you could have hoped for. Can we have a quick look?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
You want to walk right over?
Sure, it's only a few rows. Yeah.
Okay.
And again here, these trees are, they're not in danger from herbicide? I thought younger trees you sort of had to be real careful with herbicide.
Herbicide, yeah, definitely. I don't normally use Roundup, which is systemic.
Yes.
So it's the one you've got to be really careful with.
Yeah. So you're using Basta?
Basta.
Yeah.
And if there's a lot of grass, like at Tregeagle, you get a lot of kikuyu.
Yes.
I put a bit of verdict in, and
Yes.
that controls the grasses, and it doesn't hurt the trees.
I'm interested you mentioned verdict because verdict kills Soteria. And I have a big problem with Soteria. I don't know if you have it at Tregeagle.
Yeah,
but
no, we do.
Yeah, but verdict kill. Apparently, verdict's good on Soteria.
Yeah. And see, we planted all Rhodes grass in here when we developed it.
Oh yes. Is this Rhodes grass?
No, this isn't Rhodes, but
it's not bad. It's a
we've got-
paspalum of some kind.
yeah,
It's got to be. Yeah.
Bahia grass.
Bahia grass.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have heard that it's good in orchards, but I don't know. It looks like it's got a good coverage.
No, I've read about it being good in orchards. I've just never seen it in an orchard, so that's very
And this will
interesting.
just hit naturally.
Right.
But yeah, the verdict is really good for controlling those grasses. You don't need
Yeah. Yeah, it's fairly strong stuff.
It is.
Is it still expensive or is it not too bad?
Oh, it's quite expensive, but you only use
Little
a
bits.
little bit. Like it might be 200 mil a hectare,
Yeah.
and it's very effective.
Right.
So you don't use much.
Now, these are the 849s. How are these cropping? Because we've got...
You've got a look in there.
So they've got bunches too. Look at that. That's, wow. 4 years old. For about 4 years old?
Yes.
And
The oldest ones are only
so it's
a
been
touch over
4
yeah.
years. The trees were completely underwater in a flood in 2022 and you've managed this. I reckon you're cheating, Ron.
I think we're in a really good spot.
Yeah, it must. Well, yeah. I mean, look, it definitely puts paid to the idea that you need red volcanic soil to grow macadamias. That clearly can't be right. Not based on what I'm seeing. This is very fertile.
Always prove that that's not the only area that grows macadamias years ago.
Yeah, and by the Dories, just for the subscribers' benefits, this is a family that were. Did they go from cattle to macadamias too? They did, didn't
Well,
they?
they had farms up around Newrybar on the plateau,
Yes.
and they moved down. They had a lot of cane.
That's right. They were sugar. They were sugar, and then they converted to
They did
macadamias.
trials. They started planting on a small scale just to see how it was going to go.
Yeah.
And when they saw the results, they just started converting right over.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they led the charge a little bit, and that's Geez, they're healthy. I'm seeing flush too, which is interesting. I mean, the flush growth is often spring and autumn, but you're getting it in the summer as well.
And that's a good thing about pruning. It promotes the flush, and on young
Yes.
trees, it promotes the root growth as well.
Yeah.
Has a lot of benefits.
I mean, do you know how many trees there are in a row in one of these rows of yours? Is it 100 trees? It must be more than 100.
Well, you can work it out. From one end to the other is a kilometre, and they're 3.5 metres apart. So
Okay.
350, is it?
So 350 odd trees in a
Something like
row. Okay. So in a day's pruning, can you get a row done?
Struggling. It
It depends on the variety a bit, does it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Because these 849s and the MCT ones are much bushier trees than the A38s that we're looking at over
The
there.
849s, a bit like the 344s, they don't seem to need as much. Yeah.
Well, they do, by reputation, grow into a big, bushy, large tree. This would be the largest of the trees you're growing, except for maybe the 344s, which we should go have a look at next. And I mean, they seem to be doing what they want to do. They're bushing out.
No, we're quite happy with them. And some have chosen not to put 849s in down here after the flood, but we didn't have any more losses on the 849s than other varieties, so we've chosen to stay with the 849s.
Yeah, it's one of those varieties that I think South Africa grows some of them, but really, and they're not huge in Queensland. It's very much a New South Wales variety in terms of what the farmers here think of as favourites. But based on what you're showing me, that's got a great future ahead of it, I think.
And most of the replants are on Beaumont rootstock.
Oh, okay.
which we're pretty excited about.
Why? Why Beaumont?
Well, that's all they use in South Africa. They're proven.
Yeah.
And
Well, they grow Beaumont by itself in South
Exactly.
Africa.
Yeah. There's reports that it's more resistant to phytophthora as well.
Yes. Oh, right. And that could be a problem here where they get occasional wet feet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Tregeagle as well.
Do they sucker more? Because I thought Beaumont was one of the drawbacks of Beaumont, that they can potentially sucker more. Or you're not finding it?
I'm seeing plenty of suckering on H2s. I'm not seeing any more on the Beaumont.
Well, I think everything I've bought is on H2 and it suckers quite regularly. So, yeah, if H2 is meant to be good for suckering, then it's failed that test for me. Yeah. And so further over here is where we're going to find the 344s. Okay, so let's head over there. Okay, Mel, so now you've brought us over to the 344s, and I can see that they're upright. I can see that they're trying to climb high. There's seems to be multiple leaders on a lot of them. How are they going?
Good. We've got nuts started on, first year crop on them as well. I don't know what you think, Daniel, but I think the MCT ones have got them.
They're not as good as the MCT ones, and look, the 849s I was just looking at with Ron were more than these as well. And look,
Ron loves the easy management with them.
You're getting some drop.
Yeah, we are getting a little bit.
Yeah. And the 344s are your early droppers. They're going to be dropping earlier than the rest of your orchard here. So I imagine so, even on the flats.
We're feeling a bit of pressure to get a bit of slashing done and get the broom out.
Oh.
Get a bit of pre-harvest
I
clean-up.
would have been swooping if it had been any.
Oh, you and me both. Yeah. I was just saying to Mel, I can't slash at the moment. Every day I go, today I'm going to slash, and then the rain comes. And I imagine you're going to carve up this soil if you take heavy vehicles on it. I mean...
Oh, yeah, I don't like driving on any of the soils when it's wet.
Because of compaction?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, Mel said you're a compaction freak.
Well, I don't mean a freak. That's a bit excessive. But...
He's a freak. We had a lot of sacrifice paddocks on the cattle farm, and we moved a lot of herds of cows just in case that cloud decided to open up.
Right. And these... Are these older than the rest of the trees that you've planted, or not by much?
Not by much. These were the first ones to go in.
Yeah. Oh, 6 months isn't anything really.
Yeah, not much.
So I'd say, just roughly speaking, these are the tallest trees I've looked at. Is that fair?
Yeah, would be.
Yeah. And do you prune them less, or are they just more vigorous?
Oh, I haven't touched these with pruning.
Oh, you're letting them go.
I haven't touched them.
Yeah. Same spacing again? Exactly the same. It looks like about 3.5 between them.
Yeah.
And look, up there in the middle of the row, I don't know if the viewers can see it, but there's obviously a lot of ones that they look like a replant.
They are. Do you want to wander up? And
Yeah, sure.
There's pretty well a line of where, with the flood of
right.
what survived, and then beyond that, there wasn't much survived at all.
So effectively here we're going to see 2-year-old trees. I notice you've done stakes on all of these.
They're only probably 18 months.
Yeah.
We started replanting in October.
Okay. And the stake, why the stakes? Because that's a bit of a controversial issue in the industry, whether you even need them.
It is. When we planted the orchard initially, the trees were just getting a real good go, and we copped a really big windstorm. And we come down and we had to straighten up a lot of the trees. And then
are the sugarcane flats liable to wind more than some of the hilly areas, like Tregeagle?
Yeah, sure. You've got a really beautiful sandy loam, and you're really in that pocket where you get the east coast lows come in.
Right.
So to us, it's just an insurance policy.
I was just wondering, because I think I saw on the Dory's farm that they've used stakes for all of theirs, and I wondered that if the soil is sandier, are the trees more likely to blow over if they're planted in that as opposed to clay up on the highlands?
I think though, any soil that gets totally saturated and gets wind are prone to that wind damage.
Because it just gets soft.
And there were stories that strongly advised us.
Yep.
To on these flats to get some stakes in.
Right.
Well, they've been around a long time. We sort of followed their lead.
Yeah, well, they'd know what they're doing. Yeah.
And it was insurance policy for us, knowing that they were protected when there was a windstorm.
And this is a replant. I tell you, whenever I lose a single tree, I feel like I've been a bad father. You lost conservatively hundreds of them, or do you know how many you replanted after the flood?
About 8,000.
You replanted 8,000 trees. Well, that must have been heartbreaking.
It was, and most of the stakes were in, so a fair portion of them were hand plants. Where you were in those
Right.
38s,
Yes.
they were younger trees, so we hadn't quite got around to those with stakes.
But I suppose if the stakes are there, you've got markers where they're meant to go in, so
Yep.
no more GPS planting or anything needed. You could just put them back in. Did you use a GPS at the time when you planted?
Yeah.
Yeah. And a planting machine?
Yep.
Oh, right. I've seen these things on videos. I thought, oh, man. Every macadamia I've planted by hand and often dug by hand. So this sort of thing is a dream. Yeah, it's a dream to me. But 2 years on, these fellas are looking all right. So they would have been planted right after the February 22 floods, and we're now February 24.
No, yeah, they were planted the October after that.
You planted in spring?
Yep.
Wow.
Because they didn't die straight away. Remember, we had the second event.
Oh, and you wanted to see whether some of them would come through?
Well, they were looking like they were coming through. We had shoots that long
Right.
between the first and second flood, and then they shut down again.
So was your replant a function of we're only going to replant the dead ones, or were there ones that just didn't look like they were going to be viable and you decided to end their misery?
We got to a point, we left most of the orchard, and we just got to a point where we decided, well, they're not coming back.
Yeah.
So then we just came in and we just started pulling them all out.
Yeah.
And that was probably my fault, being an eternal optimist. I probably was trying to wish them back to life a bit too long.
I think the first time I spoke to you, you were hoping they'd come back.
Yeah.
And then most of them didn't.
I struggled with that. And I mean, look, pulling them out, it was,
Pulling out your own teeth, isn't
I
it?
do a lot of farming jobs, but
Yeah.
I stayed away for that one.
Yeah, no,
hard.
that's tough. Yeah.
Whereas I found it was really good for me to get rid of those dead trees and start again.
Yeah. Well, now you've got 100% living again, and really not many duds at all, which is interesting. And there's one over there that doesn't look happy, but looks like it might have been.
He's
two.
only
He's only
he
just
only
been
went in this
planted.
week.
Oh, he's only gone in just yeah. Are you finding that macadamia nurseries have got stock for you? Because a lot of them seem to be taking a holiday because no one's ordering.
We shopped around a fair bit and sourced trees from wherever we could if we thought they were good enough quality.
Yeah.
And we started looking pretty soon after the flood because we thought there may be a shortage, so we didn't want to miss out.
Yeah.
We stockpiled early.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the demand situation was like, but certainly one of my original nurserymen is now working in Bunnings Lismore because the orders aren't coming in, and he's just doing something to keep himself busy. And that's sad, but we're hoping that demand comes back, but it all sort of depends on the macadamia price, at least for some of us. But I guess we're gonna approach that subject very shortly.
Okay. Flying cheese.
So there's another reason that I've come here to see Ron and Mel, and that is the way they deal with their macadamias after harvesting, because poor schmucks like me just send them off to a processor, and last year I didn't even send my nuts off to a processor. I was so disgusted with the price, and it would have actually widened my losses to do that. But you guys have found a way to use your own product and vertically market. The first people I've seen do it since Brook Farm, I think, when they did their mueslis. And so without further ado, here he is, set up in the middle of the farm, a macadamia stand for Gondwana macadamias, which is your brand name. Who thought of the brand?
We actually had another brand.
Oh.
Big Scrub Macadamia.
You were Big Scrub, that's right.
And then Facebook locked us out.
Because Big Scrub sounded like a derogatory term or something.
No, they said to us that our $10,000 advertising ad didn't go through.
Oh.
And they were going to cancel our account, and I ignored it, thinking it was a hacker. But it was actually
But they cancelled you.
a hacker trying to hack our account, and they locked us out. And once you get locked out of Facebook, apparently, unless you're J-Lo or Chris Hemsworth, they don't really let you back in very easily.
Oh, I should have sued them.
Well, we tried for 6 months to get back in, and then we actually gave up. And we went, what else could we be? And Once we thought of Gondwana macadamias, I think within an hour we had the
There you
domain
go.
name bought, the business name bought, we had it registered to the ABN, and we were off and running.
Well, if in doubt, always sue. That's my advice. But that's a biased advice. This is fantastic. Now, it's a stall that you haven't taken to any markets in the Northern Rivers.
Not yet. This Friday is our first at Tregeagle.
At Tregeagle markets. This is going to be fantastic. And these products are all conceived by you?
Pretty much.
And
Well,
us.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many lines have you got now?
Oh, geez, I don't know. I think we're in the 20s.
Right.
It's more the ones that are in my head to come yet. I get busy there. These are here, and
Okay.
we're touching, feeling, and the brain's still ticking. What else can we do?
It's just doing my head in how a macadamia farmer could get all the way to retail with this packaging and everything else and make a go of it like this. So, I mean, was it the falling macadamia price that inspired it, or was it just a desire to do something?
No, the desire was always there, because when we couldn't get those Bundaberg farms and we thought we couldn't be macadamia farmers,
Yes.
we went off looking for other things to do, and we didn't want to do anything else.
Okay.
We just couldn't walk away from macadamia, because we just went, what an incredible product.
Okay. And so while the rest of us were copping terrible prices from the processors, you were using your own crop. This is your own crop that you're using?
Bits of it are.
Right.
The slow roasted nuts are, and we are working with our processor. We use the nuts that go into the crumb, because food safety wise, we weren't there last year. We only started this brand August.
Okay.
So, you've got to have all your food safety ducks in a row.
Yes.
And that's happening now.
Right.
For our crop for this year to go into our products.
Okay. Well, I think to quell the impatience of my viewers, let's go have a look at what you've got, because
It all started. Where it started was the nuts. Our favourite way to eat nuts is cracking a nut in a shell. How a macadamia always has been, always will be.
When you were scrubby,
Big scrub.
when you were big scrub, you were selling slow roasted macadamias in the shell.
We just started with that.
Right. I've tried slow roasting macadamias in the shell, and all I end up with is a greasy mess. So I don't know how you do it, because
It's a secret.
I heard some farmer's tale that, I shouldn't eat on the show, but you're gonna make me, aren't you?
Yep.
All right.
How's the crunch?
That's exactly what I lost by slow roasting macadamias.
Ah.
I ended up with a soft, greasy squib thing.
But I'm a cook, remember?
You're a chef, okay. How do you get extra crunch when you're cooking a macadamia nut in an enclosed shell?
Can't tell you that.
You can't tell me, okay. That's one of the best macadamia nuts I've ever tasted.
They've been really popular. We are getting people now. We've got a couple of clients that are ordering by the 10 kilos at a time. It's been really great.
Wow. And here's your packaging.
Yeah, it's really simple, just rustic.
Now, I know that Big Scrub had a website. You've got a website as well. Gondwana macadamias.com.au. And they can get them by the kilo. Is that your smallest size?
Yeah, kilo's the smallest, and we do a 2 kilo pack as well.
Okay. And they're a mixed variety, of course, but you're planning on...
They are single variety at the moment, but we aren't saying what, we haven't gone as far now to say, you're buying A38s, you're buying 849s.
Nobody does.
And, well, we've been just this year starting taste tests. We tried A38s and 849s the other day, and we didn't have a preference.
Didn't you?
No.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see when the 344s and the MCTs come on this year.
Well, my nursery reckoned MCTs were a great tasting macadamia.
Yeah, I had one not slow roasted, just from under the tree, and I thought it was delicious.
And early testing in Hawaii, the 849 was one of the best. So in terms of taste, and 344s are meant to taste good too.
Well,
so,
we'll do some blind tests if you want to come around and join in the fun.
Hey, I'll be a guinea pig, particularly if they taste like this. Okay, so you've started with the slow roasted in shell.
Yeah.
Do you sell kernel too?
No, not yet.
Not kernel, okay. So a lot of people like their nuts cracked for them. That's the best cracker. TJ's Macca cracker.
It is the best, but this one over here is the most fun.
Oh, there's another one?
There's another one, the hammer cracker.
I'll bring it around for you if you like.
Oh, no, it's all right. Oh,
seen that.
I've got an early version of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, except my one's really mangled. So that one's got a good rubber seal on it.
I can show you.
Can you show us how it's
Yeah,
done?
yeah.
Because
Pretty easy.
I've never known. You stick a nut in there.
Just sits in there,
Yep.
and you've got to give it a fairly good hit. And then just push the button on the end.
Oh right.
There's your nut.
Now,
Gave it a bit too much oomph.
are you less likely to get a whole nut out of that?
Possibly. Yeah.
Yeah, because I can use that one with the lever and get a whole nut out at least half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the younger ones, different people prefer this because it's a bit more fun. And
Yeah.
a bit easier to carry around.
Oh, a bit of violence too, you know.
Yeah, yeah, frustrations out.
Roy and HG always said a little bit of violence never hurt anyone. Yeah. But anyway, so all right, so you've gone from there, and there's no kernel yet, but they look like crumbed macadamias with other things.
Yeah, it's macadamia crumbs. The impetus for this came from the fact that, sitting around having smashed avo on toast
Yep.
and having
Ducker.
Almond ducker.
Yep.
Look, the almond guys do a great job. Any farmer,
Yeah.
love to eat Australian produce.
Sure.
But ducker's not an Australian word. Macadamia is an Australian product.
Yeah.
We wanted an Australian ducker with macadamia nuts.
Is this a ducker, or I mean, you've deliberately not called it a ducker?
Deliberately not. This one's really along the ducker line.
Okay.
This one here, the bush, is what you'd expect from Australia, lemon myrtle.
Now, is that one of the brand new ones you haven't tried on people yet?
No, that's these two.
Oh, Outback and Reef.
Yeah, and they're not quite there yet. So I can't give you a taste yet. I'm close, but I'm not at a
You're not
point
quite
where
there.
I'm happy. No, still playing with them.
The reef doesn't taste like fish, does it? Yep.
No, it doesn't taste like fish, but it's good for fish.
It's good for... Right, yeah. Because some of the best fish dishes you can get in the Sydney restaurants now, everything's crusted. Crusted barramundi, crusted whatever, and it's usually with something that contains nuts or sesame or that sort of stuff. So in your exotic, you have put in sesame.
Yeah, sesame, hazelnuts, pistachios, and your traditional dukkha seasonings, your coriander, cumin. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're pitching this at too high a level for me. I don't know what a traditional dukkha seasoning is. The bush ones, macadamias and almonds.
Yes.
Okay, and pistachios, 3 nuts.
Yeah, and pink peppercorns.
Is lemon myrtle, but that's leaf, isn't it? So, okay, so you're putting crumbs of leaf in there.
Dried leaf.
Okay. Pink peppercorns. Well, it looks pretty. Rainforest macadamias and pecans with native finger lime.
Yeah.
You mean the skin or the actual
No,
juice?
the again, it's like a dust.
Okay.
Freeze dried.
Oh, I see. So right, that becomes a powder then.
Yeah.
Decadence. That's always a good bet. Macadamia with sesame, wattle seeds. Okay.
And rosella flour. So
Right.
these two here are a sweet crumb, a dessert crumb.
Okay.
And the rainforest actually, I've got so many customers that told me they love it as a sweet crumb. I designed it for fish and for pork. The sweetness of the
But there's the coconut as well, and yeah. So you
so
could
it
almost
sits-
use it
it
for
sits
either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is your best seller so far?
Look,
Hard to tell. Oh.
Yeah, it was really even. Probably the one that was tailing was rainforest, but then we did a couple of markets coming into summer, and what it was people's diets had changed. So it's more seasonal rather than the seasons did,
Right.
creating the demand, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And so, and are it's obviously a popular product, but you've gone into cosmetics as well?
We have.
Okay, well...
Macadamias are too good just to eat. You've got to wear them also.
Well, yeah. Look, I've got my mate Bruce Chester made this macadamia oil moisturiser, which was basically just macadamia oil in a very purified form. And he said, and you can dispute it if you like, that macadamia oil was very compatible with human sebum.
It is very compatible with human sebum, and
Right.
it's also a carrier oil. So anything it's got with it, it'll actually draw through your skin. It hydrates when you've got a barrier oil for a cosmetic.
Right.
It hydrates from the outside. It traps the moisture, and that's where your hydration comes from because the moisture's held there. Whereas
Right.
carrier oils hydrate from inside out.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So macadamia hand wash, one's gritty, is that what it says? Is that because it's got little fragments in it? Not
And
macadamia shell?
No, we couldn't get macadamia shell. Our
Right.
chemists that we work with, we wanted, that was the original plan, was to use macadamia shell.
Wouldn't that
But
be fun?
It was, but he just said no, he wanted to go with the pumice. He said the macadamia shell, he just felt that...
Might be too hard.
No, and he'd be adding too many things to make sure from a biological point of view, preservatives and that. We try to keep our products as soft as we possibly can.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. And this Renew Macadamia face oil, is that largely macadamia oil itself?
Yeah, largely macadamia oil with not essential oils, but with cellular extracts of sandalwood and rose mahogany.
So it's going to have a fragrance.
It has a fragrance.
Right.
Would you like to smell?
I could smell. I mean, the viewers can't smell, obviously. They'll have to come to one of your stalls. Okay. It's not overpowering.
We've tried not to make them overpowering.
Yeah.
But it's a really powerful antioxidant and skin regenerator.
Right.
And it also helps soften and firm.
What's it like for people with rosacea and other skin conditions?
We've had some really great feedback.
Really?
Yeah, really great
From
feedback.
people with those conditions? That's really interesting. The face and body scrub, which you say try to resist. What this stuff here? How do you sell it?
It comes in these tubs. I've only got the small tubs. I left the big ones at home accidentally.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say you don't sell handfuls
No.
of it.
So we use it in the shower.
Okay.
Macadamia oil, sugar, magnesium.
Is there any soap component?
No, but the macadamia cleanses.
Okay. And the sugar, I suppose.
Sugar's one of the greatest exfoliants for our skin.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and it's got.
Have you learned to become a chemist along the way?
No, we leave the chemist lines too. We've got a really great chemist we work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the packaging.
Thank you.
I mean, this one up the top. What's this here? This is a
That is-
Kakadu plum cellular extract, and
Yeah. So that's,
do they have macadamia in it anywhere?
no, they don't.
Oh,
Part of the two-step process. Remember, going back to the fact macadamia is a carrier oil.
Yes.
By putting the Kakadu plum on just as Kakadu plum, you're getting it exactly where you want it, and then you put your macadamia oil on top to draw it through.
So it's a layering thing.
Yeah. Whereas if you
Two-step.
if you put the Kakadu plum in the macadamia oil,
Yep.
you're mixing a liquid and an oil.
Now this is for women because men barely like one step, let alone
Guys
two.
know water and oil don't mix.
Yeah.
So yeah, you will get that little bit of separation where you're mixing all the time, and then your Kakadu plum's going in little spots through your skin. This way, you're getting it everywhere you want it.
Okay. And if people come to your stand, are they able to try some of this?
For sure, we've always
Right.
got testers.
So you've all got test. Oh, sorry. There's your testers there. Yeah. And feedback about these? Are they?
They've been going really well.
Oh, great. And they're there on your website as well, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can obviously monitor what's selling and what isn't. On the left-hand side, this shine. Does this follow the same sort of thing? Oh, this is a hair and beard oil. Oh, so this is for men.
Yeah.
I thought this was just a woman thing.
No.
Oh, right. Have you tried any of this, Ron?
I'm the guinea pig. I try it all.
Oh, you don't try the women's stuff, do you?
Oh, maybe not the women's. I wouldn't admit to it.
Okay.
You love the Renew though, because it's really good hydration for your skin.
Yeah.
But it hasn't got a girly smell to it.
Yeah. I was wondering what macadamia oil was like as a sunburn sort of cure, but I don't know if it's any. I mean, obviously people use aloe for that, but
Yeah, it's really good on sunburn, and it also
Yeah.
has slight sunscreen properties to it, the macadamia oil. We
Right.
have this for sunscreen, for sunburn.
yeah,
It's Australian aloe vera
yes,
with native mint and native finger lime. Really great after shaving. Really
Yeah.
helps settle inflamed skin, and if you've got any bites, itches, fantastic.
Have you ever thought of growing your own finger limes to add to the product, or we got a good local source?
Yeah, no,
Apparently they're pretty hard to grow.
They're horrible things to harvest.
Horrible things to harvest, yeah. You
Yeah.
get pricks all over your hands, yeah. But anyway, if you get pricks all over your hands, looks like there's some macadamia moisturiser over here. Is it hand or body or how?
Both.
Oh, both,
Yeah.
okay.
Hand, body, face, it's really soft, Australian organic aloe vera as well as macadamia.
Right.
Unscented, and just really lightweight and silky.
Okay. And now, most of these have come since Gondwana, right? They
All
weren't,
of them.
when you were a big scrub, it was mostly just the nuts. Right.
Yeah, these have all come since October.
October
Sorry, August.
August 23. That's right. I remember speaking to you about it and saying, oh, you've got your new website up, and I remember looking at it and going, where did all these come from? Is that macadamia lip balm?
Yeah.
Right. Is it only macadamia oil? Have you mixed it with...
No, it's mixed with beeswax, shea butter and calendula oil.
Oh, that's fancy. And my brother made one out of his beeswax and my macadamia oil, but he didn't add any... didn't add anything else. Shea butter would work nicely.
Yeah, it does work nice. And the calendula is really nice if they're, it's soothing as well.
Right. Oh, this is great. And now, look, around the corner again, we've got another product line entirely. I don't know how you have hours in the day for all this. I can't even get my orchard slashed. Macadamia cold pressed oil. And is this infused? Oh, they're infused.
Yeah.
So, but you do sell natural?
We do sell the natural for the purists.
Right.
And a lot of these are ready-made salad dressing or really great as an easy marinade.
I think this is great on salad, just plain macadamia oil, but I've never tried an infused one before. I'm going to buy some before I leave here. We've got orange and
Basil.
orange and basil.
You haven't tried it?
Oh, man.
Let's open one.
I don't know. Well, how do we try it?
Like a breadstick.
Oh, with a
there for you.
breadstick.
How's that?
Oh, look, sorry, listeners. I might have to be YouTubing you with my mouth full. It's... And you let people taste this at the stall too.
Yeah, just grab a breadstick and have a dip.
Are you planning on doing more stalls around the area, or is it really some out of area that you're going to go for?
Oh, look, we really do try and stick with the food scene. The food festivals, that type of thing, rather than just a weekly market where your people are coming for an event. And we've got 2 farms to run,
Right.
so we have to sort of be really mindful of that.
Right.
And getting out probably 8 times a year is plenty for us.
Yeah. Look, orange and basil. I can taste more orange than basil, but that's absolutely delicious. I'm surprised they wouldn't use that on if they didn't use that on sweet stuff as well. But lemon myrtle, is that for savoury too, or could you use it on a muffin or something like that?
No, I'd use it more for savoury.
You'd use it more for
I
savoury,
would
right?
use it. That's just me personally.
Lemon garlic, definitely, no question there.
It's really lovely as a finishing sauce. If you've done a chicken breast and just drizzle a little bit over at the end, love it for that type of thing.
Are you aiming for high concentrations of things like the lemon and garlic to really...
No, they're all of them are very subtle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit infusion that comes through.
Yeah.
Rather, so my goal with it is to still be and taste a macadamia oil.
So that it doesn't get swamped. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So it keeps a bit of authenticity from the underlying product. And then rosemary and garlic, that's going to be fantastic for meats. Oh, add roast lamb. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. What a great way to do roast lamb. And lemon, rosemary and mountain pepper. Oh, on sourdough and focaccia. I'll tell you what, in the Hunter Valley, they'd go for something like this. They really would go for something like this because there's all those cutesy shops in the Hunter Valley, the Barossa Valley, all of these wine districts where, but they're all based on olives.
Yeah.
Because olives grow in the wine districts. It just seems to me that this would be crying out for somewhere in the Hunter Valley or somewhere like that, so to give something, give people a different option than just olives.
Oh, and the health benefits of
Yeah.
macadamia oil are phenomenal.
Highest monounsaturates of any oil.
Absolutely, the palmolitic acids.
Yeah.
It's just the most brilliant product, and if we can put it in our diet, creep it in as a dressing, as a marinade,
Yeah.
as a stir fry sauce. I think we all need to use more of it all the time.
Yeah. Now, I mean, are people buying this in large numbers, or is it still pretty much there? They don't really know.
No, it's going well, isn't it? The oils surprised. The oils were slow.
Right.
And I think what that was when we hit the markets, we didn't really have a great way for people to try them.
Right.
And when we put the bowls out with the breadsticks and they could have a taste, they just went crazy.
Okay. Now, you did take on Sydney once.
Yes.
In Wahroonga?
Yes.
Okay, so now we've seen all these products. I'm going to guess that the crumbs did the best in Wahroonga. Am I wrong? What did well in Wahroonga?
It's hard to say exactly which one.
Business cards did well in Wahroonga.
The business cards. Well, they're free.
we
What sold?
tasted
What? No. Yeah.
I think it was really even at Wahroonga. It was, look, you couldn't get near our stall
Yeah.
all day. So many tastings. And so we've been to other markets where, there didn't seem the throngs of people, because Warringah was huge for people.
I've never been. Look, in Sydney, I live near there, but I must admit I'd never even heard of Warringah. But it must be big.
Incredible, beautiful event.
Yeah.
Beautiful park it's held in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, we still had a good day, but we didn't have the kind of day we normally had.
Right.
What then happened was, from the Monday when we got home, the online sales were
Started coming in.
really well supported, but
Right.
everyone shopped later.
And I do the taste testing for the nuts, so I crack the nuts for everyone that wants to try it.
Yeah.
And some buy, some don't, but like Mel said, the online sales after that was really good.
Were people interested in the fact that you two were the farmers selling your own product?
Yeah.
Because that is a big thing in farmers markets in Sydney, that they want to see the person who did it rather than just have some sales agent who's taking a commission and doesn't really care.
It was a really big thing.
Yeah.
And the photo of the farm, that's our Tregeagle farm.
Oh, is
the
it?
photo of the farm's always really popular.
Yeah. So I take it that trees are more advanced in Tregeagle.
We've got a couple of years on these ones.
Okay, but only a couple of years. Right, so you're well and truly going into the honeymoon period of production for these things. And the same varieties again?
We don't have 344s.
There. Okay. But the others you do?
Yeah.
Right. So moving forward, you're looking to grow this business. Are you going to need more macadamias for it?
Look, we're really lucky that we're supported by some really great growers there at Tregeagle close by us that have got a lot of
Okay.
similar varieties with similar farming practices. So yeah, if we need to, what a great problem.
So, well, of course, but I mean, you've got farmers that hopefully would be willing to just say, you can have the nuts, as opposed to the nut processors who they'd otherwise supply to.
If we got to that stage,
If you got to that stage, yeah.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be hard to find.
And that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long way down the road from where we are. We've got,
Yeah.
nearly 15,000 trees in, so we've got a lot of nut of our own to.
So the sweet spot's going to be you grow, you sell what you grow in various forms, and you have nothing left over.
That's, that would be phenomenal.
That would be
In the
great.
perfect world, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think's going to run ahead in the next little while? I guess you don't know yet, do you?
No, we don't. I mean, we're such a new young brand.
Yeah.
The feedback we've had's been incredible. It's really, this is all new to us. We're farmers.
Yeah.
This has been
Well,
a big leap of faith.
I have
We're
to
learning
say,
so much.
I'm blown away by your initiative because, I mean, the number of other farmers I've spoken to who've said, if only we could do our own thing with the nuts rather than give them to a processor. And, of course, that talk really hit volume 10 last year when the price of $1.75 a kilo for nut and shell came out, and we just thought, well, gosh, we're still seeing in the supermarkets at $57 a kilo and $50 a kilo. Where's all the money gone? By, I guess, doing this yourself, you're controlling the process, and it doesn't matter what price the processors are offering.
And I guess for us, it was, we've got some great relationships. Some processes have been really wonderful for us, especially as new growers
Yes.
coming into the industry and learning.
Yeah.
And we see we still will need a processor relationship.
To do the cracking and things, or
No, more because just I guess being so new, I can't get my head around, we know where our farms will get to. I can't get my head around that we'll get rid of that much nut.
Yeah.
But you don't know. That's certainly what we're aiming for, but that's a long way from where we are starting out.
No, I take it you didn't do this in order to burn bridges with processors.
No.
You wanted to do this anyway.
Yeah, and we didn't, I can't even see in my head that we, wouldn't have a nut left to send to a processor. And I think the whole industry, I can't imagine we could get away the whole national crop as value-added lines, but I just think the macadamia is so incredible. There's so many things we can do with it, and it's a lot of fun, really is. It's a lot of fun, and hopefully we're turning out some really great products that people are enjoying.
Yeah.
And also being a farmer connection back to the end user. You don't get that walking into Woolworths and buying a bag of nuts.
Yeah. Now, I have some subscribers internationally, and I'm going to get this question. Can you ship overseas?
We haven't started down that road. I know there's a sneaky couple of little samples going on a plane to Japan next week.
Well, no, with a tourist is fine.
Yeah.
But,
Look, there's certainly conversations that we're working towards and for the future. Yeah.
right, so potentially an export license of... You would think it'd be easy enough for the cosmetic products, but the food products has its own red tape, doesn't it?
That does. But
Yeah.
I mean, all those things are doable.
Yeah.
It's just you got to go through the process, and we've got to learn that process first.
Right. And you do a lot with the Australian Macadamia Society too, holding you up as beacons of the industry, and that's congratulations. I think that's well earned. But are they sort of trying to push you into India and places like that to try and sell?
We haven't had any marketing conversations with the AMS yet. As I said, we're still so new. We're toes in the water doing our own thing in that space.
Australia first, and then you can conquer the world.
Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't
Something
it?
like that, yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, it would be cool because, I mean, there's countries that still haven't heard of macadamias, but let alone macadamia oil. I mean, you've seen niche markets in the US and some cookbooks that say use macadamia oil, and it became a big fad in New York apparently, but unknown in the rest of the US. But if it could become as ubiquitous as olive oil, we'll never have a bad price again. We'll all our farmers can get a decent price for their crop.
And I think the world's missing out. Like
Yeah.
kitchens worldwide are better off for having macadamias in them.
Are your chef contacts fans of macadamias?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it used in Australian restaurants. I'm just wondering how far that can spread with ideas like this.
Oh, look at what the product is. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't think of too many other things that can be sweet or savoury, creamy or crunchy.
Yeah.
It just lends itself to so much, but at the whole time, elevating health benefits of what
Right.
we're eating.
Yeah. Are there any tie-ins that Gondwana can do with other industries like big bakeries, ice cream companies? I guess we're talking a long way in the future,
we
aren't
haven't
we?
got our heads there yet.
Yeah.
We work with a group called Straight to the Source.
Yes.
And they showcase Australian producers for providor lines.
Right.
And they certainly have a words escaping me, food service to them, where they help when growers are coming along with a new product range, that they help you. That's where I've done all my food safety through them, shelf life testing, all those types of things.
Yeah.
They then also help to create pathways for you to learn what you need to go to start having those conversations.
Okay. Now, in terms of market forces, I know when I started up here in 2019, I could go into any service station, most corner shops and general stores and buy a Wally's nut bar. Did you ever see them?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and I used to buy them every so often because they were pretty yummy. They were pretty good. They were pretty good snacks. In the end, Wally's. I spoke to the manager of Wally's. He said he discontinued them in the end because the macadamia price was getting so high for nut in shell that, relatively speaking, it wasn't worth making a snack product because the price went up too high. I would have thought at the moment, if the macadamia price is fairly low, then value add like snack products is probably a good thing again. Are you looking at potential snack products like that, or really just the nuts at this stage?
That was a bit of the mindset with the crumb.
Right.
Where,
Yep.
every macadamia farmer would love to grow their entire crop of Style 0 and Style 1.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't happen. It's a reality.
No, we create chips and crumbs for half of it, and all our customers want the big round balls. Yeah.
And also the marketplace, the macadamia is seen as such a premium top-end product, an expensive product to go with it.
Yes.
So people buy a few macadamias. So what we've tried to do as a brand is put macadamia in an everyday space.
Yes.
And so I think in your answer to that with the snack bars, whether we do it or somebody else does it, I think there's certainly a really great opportunity with prices being a little bit lower to get in, build a great brand, get your client base while your prices are low. And then if you've got to take the price up as your nuts become worth more, well, if your product's good enough, hopefully the marketplace goes with you.
Well, yeah, a good price is what someone's prepared to pay for it. So that's great. Have you had any big stores knocking on your door saying, we want to stock your product? Your Woolies, your Coleses, the horrors that we all are so afraid of? And would you say no if they asked?
I don't know about you, but I think how cool would it be if we could have our brand as a providor brand that we, weren't on every Coles and Woolies shelf.
But you could find you in a Simon Johnson or those sorts of places. Yeah, and I mean the styling and the packaging and everything really would look at home in one of those providors shops. I mean they want presentation and those bottles of presentation all right. And the nuts themselves, well, they're a high. I mean, the people who wander into those shops aren't ones. They've got some disposable income on, so if they're buying premium products, that's great. But in terms of the cosmetic products, where would you hope to find them? You know, salons or
we're really trying hard. Our pricing is really quite competitive, I think, and we're really trying to keep it in as an everyday line. That you're getting to spoil yourself with macadamia, but you can afford to use it every day.
Yeah, well, I remember Bruce Chester telling me a story, but when he did his macadamia oil product, he manually went around and sold it to all these massage places in Byron Bay, and all the nurses loved it because when they used that product, it didn't stain their clothing. Apparently didn't stain their clothing, didn't stain their customers' clothing either, and they thought those things were great. But it was very much niche marketing and knock-on-door marketing rather than something with a chain like Chemist Warehouse or Priceline or something like that.
And the world's a different place too now. E-commerce back then probably wasn't what e-commerce is these days.
Yeah.
You know, the world's digitally become a lot smaller, hasn't it?
It has, and it's going to be easy enough to find you on the internet with all your products. And I love the logo. Was this your own design, or did you get a professional?
We ran a competition.
You ran a competition?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't iron the tablecloths. I actually
No.
I hadn't washed it when I put them away last night.
No, it's a really lovely logo.
Yeah, we put a competition up on Freelancer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what, you've got artists competing with each other for your gig, and you pay for the winning one?
Yeah.
Oh,
we put a $300 prize up, and when we want to, this is our name, this is what we're about.
Wow.
$300 to the winner, and this is what we came
There's
up
a
with.
huge amount of entrants. There's so many to choose from.
Oh,
There's a good way to do it.
I'd do it as a barrister, but I'm scared of the images that would come back.
This is the original, like we've cut that back just to the green. But,
Right,
we're incredibly passionate about.
This is the business card that got handed out at Wahroonga.
Yeah, well, we're passionate about macadamia conservation, so that encases the pink of the tetraphylla from the northern rivers.
Yes, and we didn't mention that earlier, but you've got a plantation, you've got a small planting of them under licence from the Macadamia Conservation Trust.
We've got the Arboretum for the Macadamia Conservation Trust, just the tetraphylla arm. It's being built. We've got only about 20 trees in, but there'll be 180 when that's finished.
Okay.
There's, with COVID and with their licensing collection permits with COVID,
yes,
there was delays. And cuttings aren't easy to do either.
No.
Getting cuttings off wild trees, the cutting collectors go trekking through the forest and identifying trees in the middle of nowhere and capturing genetics. And
then are they potentially going to use those to help breed new varieties of macadamia in the future, or is it really just conservation?
A bit of both. I think it gives the genetic database that they can take it that way, and it does preserve. It's a living museum.
Wow. Fantastic. Well, look, no wonder the AMS think of you both as stars and put you on the cover of their magazine and everything, and I'm very honoured to have interviewed you both. Thank you for your time, and thank you for setting up a stall that no one but me is going to buy from. It's a fantastic demonstration, and they get to see you at Tregeagle. Is Tregeagle every month?
I think they're going quarterly. We'll probably just do it this once because, as I said, we're only looking to do a few markets this year.
Okay.
But this is the first big one they're having with Pizza Night.
Okay.
At 4 o'clock this Friday.
Now, people will know how to find you online, but if they want to find you at a market, would you be posting up on your website where you're going to go?
Yeah, we do.
So there'll be some who want to try the testers and taste a breadstick and that sort of thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we keep our socials updated when markets are coming up.
Right, so you're on Facebook.
And Instagram.
Instagram I still don't understand, but Facebook I get, yeah.
And hey, we'll now be on TikTok thanks to you.
Now you'll be on TikTok and YouTube, yeah, YouTube in particular. So, yeah, no, that's great. All right, everyone, I'm going to close off the video here and I'm going to go shopping. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you again, Mel and Ron, for showing us your farm.
For coming out, Daniel. We're huge fans. It's great to have
you.
you.
No, it was really great. A long time coming too.
For sure.
All right, bye-bye for now.